In this short video, I want to focus on 2 points on this slide. This one, point number 3, and point number 4. All right, let's read through point number 3. A relationship of degree 3 and above, that means a ternary relationship, a quaternary relationship, etc. Must always, the keyword here is must always be modeled as an associative entity. All right, let me use this as an example. So we have part, vendor, and warehouse, P, V, and W. Part, vendor, and warehouse. So this is a ternary relationship. So every instance of this ternary relationship will involve one vendor with one part instance and one warehouse instance. You should never see a ternary relationship in a final ER diagram. This must be refined into you must change it so that there is a associated entity. So how do I do that? This in the middle is an associative entity. So oblong. So you can give it a name. If you can't think of a name, you be just, the name is made out of the 3 different entity names. But if you can, come up with a reasonable name. So there is no more ternary relationship here. This is a binary relationship between the vendor and the associative entity. This is also a binary relationship, and this is also a binary relationship. Now, if this ternary relationship has got attributes, let me go back to the slides now. What's the name of the attribute? Attribute is called shipping mode and unit cost. Shipping mode and unit cost. Let's just use one as an example. Let's say unit cost. This is a attribute of the relationship type. So the attribute will become an attribute of the associative entity. Now, if there is no attribute here, then this associative entity will have no attribute. So it's fine for the associative entity to have no attribute. It is okay if there's no identifier as well. All right, so let me undo this thing. So in the example, they use the word supply schedule instead of PVW for the name of this associative entity. Let me talk about the cardinality. So original cardinality. In this refined form, this n will always be 1, mandatory 1. This n will always be many. And the question is it mandatory many or optional many? Now that depends on your business rules. It can be optional many or mandatory many. So if I draw it this way, it means that there can be an instance of vendor who is not associated with an instance of a part, an instance of a warehouse. All right. In other words, these are instances. Okay. It is possible for V2 to be there, and it's not associated with a P1 and W1. All right. On the other hand, it is not possible for an instance of the warehouse to be there, and that instance is not associated with any P or V instance. So in this case, it is mandatory many. So it's really as simple as that. You do the same for a degree 4 relationship. Just put an associative entity in the middle and convert that degree 4 relationship into 4 binary relationships. And the same cardinality rules follow. Let's go back to the slides to talk about the second bullet point, or rather the 4th bullet point here, this one. Okay, let's read it. A unary or binary relationship could be modeled as an associative entity only if it is many to many and it has at least one attribute. So there are two requirements here to be met. It's a many-to-many binary or unary relationship. And this relationship type has at least one relationship attribute. Now, only when condition 1 and condition 2 are met, you could, meaning that it is optional. All right. So for example, in this case, right, it's a binary relationship, all right, and it is a one-to-one relationship, doesn't meet the condition. One-to-many binary relationship doesn't meet the condition. Many-to-many binary relationship meets condition number 1, does not meet condition 2 because there is no relationship attribute. Okay, here is an example whereby I saw an example just now. Hold on. Here it is. Look at this many-to-many binary, and there are two. In this case, there are two, but you need at least one relationship attributes: completed date and grade. Now, in this case, it is possible, it is optional to actually convert this into two entities with one associative entity in the middle. Let's take a look at an example how to do that. It's very systematic and methodological one. So we have got employee and course. Actually a bit strange. Let's change this to student and course. A student takes a course, and to simplify things, there is only one attribute for the relationship type, and this attribute is called grade. So this is a many-to-many relationship. One instance of student can take any number of courses. One instance of course can be taken by any number of student instances. And every time there is a relationship instance, a particular student takes a particular course, there will be a value for grade, for that grade. Now, two conditions have been met. Many-to-many, number 2, there is at least a relationship attribute. So it is optional to convert this into this form. So student remains here and course remains here. And you put an associative entity and call this anything. We can call this report. Give it a relevant name, of course. All caps this because this is a entity name. An associative entity is still an entity. Now, the relationship attribute will become the attribute of the associative entity. Let's talk about the cardinality now. This one is fixed, mandatory one. Don't have to think about it. On the other hand, this one will come here. And this one will come here. So in the slides, we use the word, crossover. In the slides, this one, there's this crossing over. This cardinality comes to here. Actually, it makes a lot of sense, and this cardinality comes to here. Because this cardinality is basically the number of instances of the other side for each instance of course. So it is retained here. All right. So the crossing over rule, or whatever rule you want to call it, and it's as simple as that. So this is optional. There is one major advantage of doing this. That means converting the left scenario to the right scenario. The advantage is that, well, report itself can have its own association with other entities. And you can't do that in the left picture. You can do that in the right picture. That means, report can have other associations, other relations with other entities. Okay, so that's it.